God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, for you are our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. When a song like this, does it take you back to a place, a time, a moment? This song takes me back to the hills of Pennsylvania, summer vacation Bible school, and a remarkable woman in her 70s who always headed the vacation Bible school experience for 1 week in August, Monday through Friday. And the remarkable thing about it is that her husband was not able to walk. He was in a wheelchair. She cared for him, and they were really desperately poor. They didn't have a lot of money. But out of the box of her scarcity, every summer, she loved to teach. She was a retired school teacher, vacation Bible school. And it was as if her spirit ignited and came alive. There was a brightness and an excitement all around her as she organized parents and leaders and made sure there was transportation for any of the kids who wanted to come. And she baked wonderful chocolate fudge. And the last day there would be vanilla ice cream on chocolate fudge. See what an impact she had on me? And out of the scarcity of her life, there was this amazing abundance which flowed into the community, the farm families that lived around her, and into the church setting. We are living in a very interesting time here in America. And when we think about it, as we listen to the news, there is a lot of talk about scarcity and debt. And as we are wondering how things are going to turn out next week, I think every one of us is in some way impacted or touched by this very significant public discourse that is going on at this time. And the focus is on scarcity. It's not on abundance. It's on what we do not have or possess. And I would like for someone in some setting, the White House or the Congress, or some gifted teacher or professor or leader, to name the fact that we are mired down in a conversation about what we do not have and what we cannot do and all that is wrong in this moment in time. It is as if I live in two worlds, because I live in this world. And there may be times when the world of the church and what we do as family together is somewhat unreal, but we never doubt ourselves. We do what needs to be done. I'm going to tell you a story about an elderly couple who came to see me early this past week. I would judge in their late 70s, early 80s. They came from a neighboring town. They did not want to go to a church in their own town because they might be known or recognized. And so they took the bus, and they came to Wallingford, and they knocked on the front door of our church office. And they wondered if there might be a pastor they could talk to. Fortunately, I was there. And they came in, and we talked. And they told me a lot about their lives and their life story and everything that was happening to them in their retirement years. They've signed on to a list for senior housing in their town, and they've been on that waiting list now for 2 years. They rent where they live. They have some savings, very modest, which they budget very carefully, plus their Social Security, and they have medications that they need to pay for. Now, I can tell normally when I'm being scammed, and I was not being scammed. This was a real story. There was a lot of truth to this story, and they were very genuine in what they had to say. And they said, we're at a point where we have to pay the rent for the beginning of the month, which we save for very carefully, and we are $82 short. And no matter what we do, no matter how we try to figure it out, we're short. And the reason we're short is because there had been a mistake made on a medical reimbursement to them for medications. And they had worked with that person to get the correction done, but it was going to take 6 weeks for that reimbursement to come back to them. Now, generally, when people come to me, they're asking for, I need $100 or I need $500, and I instantly say, whoa, wait a minute. But this couple was so careful to say to me, we need $82. And the reason they needed $82 was not only to pay their rent for the month, so all of their bills would be up to date. They had been on this waiting list for 2 years. And if there is ever a report that you have paid your rent late, you drop off the waiting list. We have a little fund in this church that people sometimes give to called Random Acts of Kindness. And after talking to them for about 45 minutes and really trying to understand their story and what was unfolding in their lives, I had them come out on the front porch of the church office with me while someone went and got $82 that I could give them. And then there were hugs and some tears, and they went on their way. Out of our own scarcity, because we're being so careful with our funds as a church family, there was an abundance. And this story is a story that is instructive for every one of us, because people may cross our paths. Family, people we know, or total strangers, and we think, wow, I'm really on a schedule today. I don't have a lot of time. We live out of this scarcity of time. We also live out of a scarcity of compassion, because we've all heard so many stories of desperation